So hello guys, so today we are going to be looking at what we're going to expect for the coming week, and we are going to start from economic data. So first of all, on Monday we are having German prelims, CPI, ECB president speaking, core CPI for Euro, and then we're also going to have ECB president, Bank of England governor and Fed chair Powell speaking. On Tuesday, we're going to have ISM manufacturing PMI, just job opening, ISM manufacturing prices on Tuesday too. So on Wednesday, we are going to have our ADP and ECB president speaking also. Now, because of the Friday holiday we have in the US, NFP and unemployment rate and average hourly earning will be pushed up to Thursday. So this is it for data. Now for NFP, we are going to see a very sporadic reaction if we're getting an NFP that is below 100. Anything below 100 will most likely push the Fed to act. Now 4.3 is within what the Feds are expecting. They're looking at 4.3 max. So this might not really change much, but let's see what will happen overall. Now let's look at what news articles are saying. I don't usually do this, but I just want so many people to just see, okay, for you to actually understand some certain things. Sometimes you might not be so advanced enough to really interpret data and understand what is going on and all of that. So you have to actually read other people's opinion rather than stressing yourself following the day-to-day news happening every day, which is actually what I do. So but for the sake of my audience, I'll actually take you guys to read an article. Now here we're talking about the NATO members, which is mostly European countries, agreeing to spend 3.5% of their GDP on the defense, and then 1.5% of GDP on defense and security related spendings. Now, from their opinion, they are saying that this should have a modestly positive effect on European GDP growth in the short term. Over the 10 years implementation period, we expect the impact of GDP to be minimal, and the increased demand for defense instead to result in higher interest rates, all else equal. Now, in the coming week, they are expecting that attention will be likely turning to US tariff as various postponements of tariff hike are set to expire, creating deadline for negotiation. So this is just them trying to tell you that we are entering a period where we are going to be hearing more from Trump, talking about tariff postponement or whatever, or his usual word, I have instructed. I have instructed. So type it. So that is just one of the things that you should actually be looking out for this week, and also the weeks to come. So because this is just funny, just very funny though, but just so that he might be typing more this period, so take note of that. So this is all for now when it comes to what they are anticipating. Personally, for me, I'm looking at the US not cutting rates by the next meeting due to Powell's statement last week, where he was saying that they are on the wait and see. So I believe even though Weller and I think Bowman was coming to claim that we are going to support rate cut, but market is seeing it as a political move. They said put your mouth where your money is at. So they are pursuing something, maybe probably because both of them are like Trump's appointees. So maybe they are eyeing the Fed chairman position, and I don't think two of them can actually. Generally, the other board members are not looking at cutting rates for the next meeting. So we'll let that slide. So let's now look at sentiment aspect of things. Now for sentiment, we are about to enter July. July is one of the weakest months for dollar. Now prior to beginning of July, we are going to see this dollar strength and then tank up to July. So this is a period where we are going to have sporadic bearishness in dollar if we have fundamental basis supporting that. So we're actually going to look out for that. So this is one of the worst dollar months. So let's see what happens. But this is actually what the seasonality is telling us. Now let's look at COT, DXY and COT. Now, as you could see, there's this level I actually marked out here. I don't like showing this, but yeah, let me show this. You would see that there is what we call a support level here that has been taken. Those are, I expect market to get to these levels. Now you see one of my series where I'll actually be releasing in maybe a week or 2 weeks time, where I talked about why technical seems to work. Now you understand why this level actually seems to work and all of that, you get. So but I'm just marking out this basis, noting that okay, our sentiments, other aspect of sentiment, which is the seasonality, is pointing towards more bearishness. So we might actually be coming down to as low as, let's say, 95 or lower than that, within 95 to 94. So somewhere within that. We can actually go lower to maybe probably 93. But let's look at here first. Now, why am I even taking note of those level? COT, because that's what I'm here to discuss. I'm not here to discuss this. I'm not really a fan of this, but I don't have to be a fan of anything, because anything technical works. I'm going to say that again. Anything technical works. You understand? It's just, are you in the right direction with your fundamentals? Are your fundamentals also syncing with your sentiment for more sporadic move? It's not like fundamentals need sentiment to move, but there will be more sporadic movement when it's correlating with the sentiment. So let me drop that here. So now I want to see COT drop to this level. Then start accumulating. Then we'll start accumulating inside of here. We'll now start seeing some retracement or reversal, depending on what fundamental is pointing towards. So, and that makes sense when you look at sentiment, that okay, after July, around August, we might start seeing some retracement, but it now become some retracement, but it's now become a reversal if fundamentals aligns. So I'm looking at COT dropping to this place, then we'll start accumulating. So that is that for what I have now when it comes to sentimental analysis. So welcome to the technical aspect of things. I believe it's like magic. I told you guys that bulk of the move will be made at the end of the month, and as you guys can see, magic, right? This is for DXY monthly time frame. We also look at Euro monthly time frame. You can see the move. Sweet move. Now you look at GBP. I told you guys GBP is not going to actually make much of the move. Now we'll see for weekly time frame. We'll see how last week actually performed well. So you see how last week actually performed. Move from this FVG I pointed out, and then see where we are. For Euro, you see how Euro came, moved up. Now remember our CP, that is candlestick psychology. Candlestick price psychology. You can see that this high was taken. So there's something that they say that every irreversible decision that must be made has to be made on the basis of incomplete information. You get, so the market always have to be moving, but they're making their decision based on incomplete information. So what information do they have for now? If we look at fundamentals, this week is going to be somehow uncertain because of NFP and all of that. So NFP weeks are always somehow. They're always somehow, because you can't just predict it. You don't know what it's going to do. You get, so it might be more rangy or more bullish. So depending though. So let's see what happens. But generally, fundamentals is bullish for Euro and GBP, more for Euro than GBP. So I think that's it. So let's keep going. DXY, you see what DXY has done, and then you see that when you look at the daily time frame, how we actually took those bunch of liquidities we talked about here. See how we actually took that. So we also look at and then you see bearish days all throughout, and then we notice something. The previous day low was not taken, was still in the red. So probably is either we go up to fill because we have some gaps here, or we continue down. But I'll be skeptical until I see this level taken, this low. This low here is 96.997, so I want to see it taken before I start looking for more moves down. If we look at euro, see, and then you also notice that there is a kind of exhaustion, like we're exhausting. The body of the candle is, you know, as it keeps going up, is reducing. It's a sign of exhaustion, like I need to relax, gather some momentum, and then probably continue. And they also see that in GBP even closed bearish, you know, unlike euro that took the high, GBP did not take the high. So let's see what happens until we see GBP take this high, then we'll start going up again. So we open to see our chart and all of that. So for the weekly level, if we are going up, we should be targeting this place. If we are going to go down to relax, then we are going to be targeting either of these FVGs here or this weekly order block to continue going up. But if we are going to go up first, we are going to be targeting here. So we are going to be targeting there. Let's see. So if we look at euro, you would see that there is a weekly fair value gap here, you know, here now that market might actually come up to if we decide to go up first. Now if we decide to go down first, we have this fair value gap, and then this week. But I don't expect euro to come back to this weekly order block. I don't see that happening. I don't. So now it might even go as high as this or this level here for euro. But remember, this is NFP week. NFP week are not really that predictable. Although you should not even be in the business of trying to predict regardless. So understand that. So we look at this, so we might actually go up to fill this level and then react from this weekly order block and then continue going down. Then when we start going down, we might get to this monthly order block or somewhere around this weekly FVG or daily FVG. So depending on what happens, but I would actually love to see a retracement to this gap before we continue going down. I would really love to see that. I will. So the only thing that will invalidate that for me is this low being taken. That's the only thing that will invalidate that for me. So every other thing I'm just going to want to see this come back here and probably get to this weekly OB, then we'll continue going down. So I think that is it for this week. So see you guys on my next weekly outlook. Love you guys. Bye bye.